I want to contextualize it by recognizing some people, because it is not a ministerial accomplishment. It is not an accomplishment of Dr. Surju Singh. It is a Trinidad and Tobago accomplishment led by people on the ground who are citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. I would like to recognize at this point Dr. Colin Jagannath, Head of Department, ONG, Southwest Regional Health Authority. Could not have done this without people like yourself. For the reduction of neonatal mortality, I would like to recognize Dr. Arlette Khan, Head of Department of the Neonatal Department at San Fernando. At NCRHA, we have Dr. Randall Gooden. Can't have done it without people like Dr. Randall Gooden and your predecessor, Dr. Sohan. We have Dr. Lutchman, Head of Department Neonatal at Mount Hope Women's Hospital. At Northwest, where you have a dedicated maternity hospital, Dr. Sally Ishmael, I want to thank you. I think you have a couple of your senior midwives here. Give me your name, please. Ms. Flamant. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Up at Sangre Grande, even though Sangre Grande only handles about 10% of the national average, they still do wonderfully well. And I want to thank Dr. Akibo, who is here. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the people, nationals of Trinidad and Tobago, except for Dr. Akibo, I believe. Are you a national? Yes, you are now? Yes. Good. And Dr. Wheeler, who is from Tobago, nationals of Trinidad and Tobago, who have heeded the call when this government took over office in 2015 to do something about the most pressing issue facing the health sector in Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, I want to, again, further contextualize what we do in the public health sector. You would have heard Dr. Surju Singh say that 91% of the deliveries take place in the public health sector. So we have about 17,000 deliveries per annum. 91% of that, which is about 16,000 plus, takes place in the public sector. Only 9% takes place in the private sector. Well, let me give you another statistics which should be of concern to you and tell you how well we do. Even though we handle 91% of the deliveries, our C-section rate is 27%. Do you know what the C-section rate is in the private sector, even though they only handle 9%? 54%. That is an alarming statistic. And only the public sector at 27% is in accord with WHO's recommendations for C-sections. Let me repeat that. Let me repeat that. Because these doctors and nurses don't get the credit that they deserve. Because they don't get the credit for the 9,999 things that go right. But let one thing go wrong, that is what defines them. And I want to reverse that. In the private sector, they handle 9% of the births in Trinidad and Tobago. But of that 9%, 54% are delivered via C-section, which is a high-risk procedure. In the public sector, we handle 91% of births, and our cesarean rate is 27%, which is WHO standards. But to complicate that, And if the media could take away one message today, to complicate what we are faced with in the public sector, 40% of women accessing care in the public sector do not present for antenatal care within the first half of their pregnancy. Now, that is another frightening statistic. But it is the reverse in the private sector. In the private sector, it is close to 100% who go to the private sector access care within their first trimester. That is what we are faced with in the public domain. And these ladies and gentlemen perform miracles every single day by bringing complex pregnancies to a happy ending. Added to that, the private sector sends all their difficult cases where? To Mount Hope, to San Fernando, and to Port of Spain. So when something happens, who gets the bad name? The public sector. It has gone unnoticed that the private sector is not geared to handle difficult cases, and they come to the public sector. So this is the context in which we have achieved our SDG goals for both maternal mortality rates and neonatal mortality rates 12 years ahead of schedule. I hope I have brought to bear on you the reasons, the knowledge, the information of how well they have done in 3 years, from 2016, 2017, 2018, and we are now into 2019. Those are the bare facts. To further advance the cause of reducing maternal and infant mortality rates, breastfeeding has to play a very important role. And that is why what we are doing now is crucial. Breastfeeding has a significant role in reducing infant mortality rates, not just neonatal, because neonates are up to 28 days. Infants are up to a year. Because breastfeeding, a lot of the diseases, childhood diseases, could be mitigated by breastfeeding exclusively for the first 6 months of that baby's life. Because the mother has all these wonderful things called antibodies, which are passed on in the breast milk, so they don't get the flu as often, right? Exclusively breastfed children show a significantly reduced rates of developing diabetes. So there are benefits. They don't tend to be obese. And all of this is tied up in what PAHO has been helping us with, the SIPS technology. And I cannot thank PAHO enough. So I want to thank Izola, who anyway, forget what I told her before she spoke. Should I tell them? I said, Izola, don't say anything embarrassing, eh? And what did she do? And she said, I'm going to embarrass you. So the breastfeeding initiative is tied in, is inextricably linked with reducing infant mortality. Both infant mortality rates up to 1 year, children up to 1 year, and neonatal mortality rates, those babies up to 28 days. So the messages I want to go out this morning, if you in the media could get it out, is to ask women who depend on the public healthcare system, do not wait until the second half of your pregnancy, the second and third trimesters, to come for screening. We can pick up a lot of things earlier, whether you are diabetic or not, whether the child, whether that fetus has abnormalities we need to know about by doing the two compulsory, is it two? Two compulsory ultrasound scans we want to do. So we can catch you early and reduce further both infant mortality and maternal mortality. Our achievements are gold standard, but we can do even better. We can raise it to diamond standards. Because Trinidad and Tobago has now been recognized as a center of excellence for maternal health and infant health. So ladies and gentlemen, that is my wrap-up for the good news that we have to share with you. In closing, again, this is not a ministerial achievement. This is a country achievement. This is an achievement that is recognized globally, and these are the good men and women who have led that charge. Thank you very much, and I think we could take questions now.